Chapter 1, Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Manastu Satarupayam Tishrai Kanyascha Jagnari Akutir Devahutischa Prasutir iti Vusrutai Maitreya Uvacha Manastu Satarupayam Tishrai Kanyascha Jigniri Akute Devahutischa Prasutir iti Vishrutai Maitreya Uvacha Manostu Sarupayam Tishrai Kanyascha Jignari Akute Divahutischa Prasitir iti Vishrutai. Maitreya Uvacha Manostu Sarupayam Tishrai Kanyasna Jignari Akutir Devahutischa Prasyutir iti Vishrutai. Okay. Maitreya Uvacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Mano tu of Swayambhuva Manu Satarupayam in his wife Satarupa Tishrai 3 Kanyai Cha daughters also Jagniri gave birth Akutihi named Akuti Devahutihi named Duvahuti Cha also Prasutihi named Prasuti Iti thus Vishrutai well known. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Maitreya said, Swayambhuva Manu begot 3 daughters in his wife Satrupa, and their names were Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Purport. First of all, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by whose order I am engaged in this Herculean task of writing commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam as the Bhaktivedanta purports. By his grace, we have finished 3 cantos already, and we are just trying to begin the 4th canto. By his divine grace, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya, who began this Krishna consciousness movement of Bhagavat Dham 500 years ago. And through his grace, let us offer our obeisances to the 6 Goswamis. And then let us offer our obeisances to Radha and Krishna, the spiritual couple who enjoy eternally in Vrindavan with their cowherd boys and damsels of Brajabhumi. Let us also offer our respectful obeisances to all the devotees and eternal servitors of the Supreme Lord. In this 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 31 chapters, and all these chapters describe the secondary creation of Brahma and the Manus. The Supreme Lord himself does the real creation by agitating his material energy, and then by his order, Brahma, the first creature in the universe, attempts to create the different planetary systems and their inhabitants, expanding the population through his progeny, like Manu and other progenitors of living entities who work perpetually under the order of the Supreme Lord. In the first chapter of this first canto, there are descriptions of the 3 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu and their descendants. The next 6 chapters describe the sacrifice performed by King Daksha and how it was spoiled. Thereafter, the activities of Maharaj Dhruva are described in 5 chapters. Then, in 11 chapters, the activities of King Prithu are described, and the next 8 chapters are devoted to the activities of the Pracheta kings. As described in the first verse of this chapter, Swayambhuva Manu had 3 daughters named Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. Of these 3 daughters, one daughter, Devahuti, has already been described, along with her husband Kadama Muni and her son Kapila Muni. In this chapter, the descendants of the first daughter, Akuti, will specifically be described. Swayambhuva Manu was the son of Brahma. Brahma had many other sons, but Manu's name is specifically mentioned first because he was a great devotee of the Lord. In this verse, there is also a word cha, indicating that besides the 3 daughters mentioned, Swayambhuva Manu also had 2 sons. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Maitreya Swed, Swayambhuva Manu begot 3 daughters in his wife Sarupta, and their names were Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. Om Gana Tamarandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshu Umilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but by the mercy of my spiritual master, he is kindly forcing open my eyes with a torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupada Krishna Prista Bhutale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswamin Iti Namine. So this chapter is entitled The Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. So no doubt we'll be hearing many, many names. But such a, the Bhagavatam is such a, well, it's explained to be like the torchlight of knowledge arising, or the sun arising after the departure of Lord Krishna. So we have just heard in the 3rd canto the wonderful activities of Swayambhuva's first daughter Devahuti and how she was very devoted to her husband Kadama Muni, and how she got the full result. She got her son was none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this was well, you could say a massive benediction, something that we cannot even comprehend. But as far as comprehending goes, when we look at even the birth of Lord Brahma, it is such a wonderful pastime that we should always be contemplating, because we're trying to see things in the real light, not in the illusory energy, which is Krishna's, 3 modes of material nature, this illusory energy, thinking that we know everything, I am this body, and the illusion goes on and on. As soon as you get the first part wrong, 1 + 1 = 3, then everything else is wrong. So as long as we are thinking we are these bodies, everything else that we identify with is to some degree an illusion. So we are hearing how Lord Brahma, such a wonderful pastime, how he came about in this material world from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, there sitting on top of a lotus. So we really have to challenge ourselves. Is this reality? Is this how things actually take place? But we can see why not. When we take birth, we are connected by our umbilical cord to our mother, and so the whole connection is there. But the fact that it's a lotus flower, such a wonderful thing to be present. And we also hear from the authoritative scriptures of, the lotus is mentioned so many times, as the lotus-like eyes of the Lord. But we also hear the planet, Goloka, is none other than a massive, lotus with thousands of petals. So, and in the middle is the very wonderful, is the center, and it's all golden, and it's just such an amazing creation. And we should not doubt this. We should have, strong faith that if the Lord, being the supreme creator, if he so desires, he can create something so wonderful and beautiful as a lotus flower for Lord Brahma to be sitting on when he comes into this material world. So Lord Brahma is sitting there, and trying to figure out what is going on, and for us, we are not so fortunate when we take our birth. When we are coming, we are stuck inside the womb and inside a bag. It's full of so many abominable things, and then we are forced out, and we're unconscious and slapped. We wake up and we're crying, and we're all covered in stool and urine and many abominable things. So the birth of Lord Brahma is a very wonderful thing, and Lord Brahma was given the wonderful instruction of tapa. One must perform tapasya in order. So this is what Lord Brahma did. He sat there and he meditated for a very long time, and through that meditation and tapasya, the syllable Om was also the sound vibration that he heard. He heard, I'm not 100% sure, but anyhow, he was meditating for a very long time, contemplating what to do. So we understand the Lord from within the heart. So this is for us also. We also have the very nice deity form here of Sri Sri Radha Giridhari, but we also have the Lord residing within our hearts, which is just a very wonderful thing. We are never alone. The Lord is always with us. He is accompanying us, and He is also fulfilling our desires. And this can be a problem, because what are our desires? Our desires can be sense enjoyment. So we are hearing constantly through the Srimad Bhagavatam how the senses, or even in the Bhagavad Gita also, how the senses are like snakes. So we have to be very wary of them, and how by feeding them they become stronger. So we have to negate the senses to some degree in order to become sober and be able to fully be able to contemplate these things, because if our mind is agitated by our senses, we will not be able to fully sit there peacefully and contemplate the truth that we are hearing. So we do have to try somewhat to control our senses, and also through the pranayama. That is a very helpful means for controlling the mind, slowing down the breath, becoming conscious of the breath, because we can see that when we get angry, we start breathing more rapidly through the nostrils, the eyes become red, so we have to slow down the breath and slow everything right down so that we can put ourselves in a peaceful situation, so that we can contemplate, the beginning of Lord Brahma, how he's sitting there on the lotus and contemplating. So this contemplation is not a bad thing. When we are contemplating what we have heard from authoritative sources. So we contemplate what we have heard from Srila Prabhupada, what we have read here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and through that contemplation, the Lord within the heart becomes pleased also. He is pleased by this. It's like an apparent inactivity, but it is also an activity that is going on with our mind. It's not that we are not doing anything and we are useless. By sitting and contemplating what we have heard through the authoritative scriptures, this is a great activity, actually. We can become sober and more serious about the realities of life. So for me, this is, we have just finished the third canto, and that was the first canto that I got to read, actually, before I was even a devotee. Before I even met the devotees, I was introduced to Lord Kapila Dev, which is a very fortunate thing. When I contemplate that it's so wonderful that I got to hear of the activities of Kadama Muni and Devahuti and how she inquired submissively from Lord Kapila. I had read all this before I even met the devotees. So I was very much like a ripened fruit, you could say. When I first went into the Gopal's restaurant that we used to have in Queen Street, I walked in the door and there was a smiling brahmachari there, and I could smell the wonderful prasadam. My nose was very attracted. The pakoras were there, hot. The halava was there, nice and hot. And so my senses were immediately attracted by the wonderful smells. Because I was also, by reading the third canto, I had become a vegetarian, but I did not know how to cook. So I was a little bit skinny, not too skinny, but I wasn't fat by any stretch of the imagination. But after shortly joining the devotees, I sort of fattened up quite quickly. All glories to the ghee. So I had been contemplating all these things. So when I went in to the Gopal's restaurant for the very first time, They offered me a Bhagavad Gita, but I'd already got the Bhagavad Gita out of the local library, as well as the third canto. They came from the Glen Eden Library. They were in the Glen Eden Library 30 years ago. So whoever was a book distributor and put them in there, I offer them all respects and are very grateful for them. So yeah, these books are like bombs. They can sit there on the shelf, tick, 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 until some lowly, wretched person like myself comes along and picks them up and takes them home and dives into the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then so many wonderful concepts were there, about how creation comes about, because we hear from the other religious systems it's not so clear on this creation. But here it is very, very nicely described, how creation came about. And if we contemplate it, it does seem to make sense, because we can see that our father had a father and his father had a father. So it's and then we hear of the Supreme Father. So this is very logical stuff. It's not that it's just come from chemicals or a big bang. No, we can see our father had a father and his father had a father. So there is the Supreme Father. So his name is none other than Govinda. And his first son, Lord Brahma, was very fortunate to have such an auspicious birth on the top of a lotus. So we take this very seriously, and so now we're going to hear of all the other descendants. But before we hear them, we can see that Srila Prabhupada is offering his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master and to the Parampara system, which again is a very wonderful thing to grasp, that this Parampara system is handing down this knowledge through this oral reception. By sitting submissively in front of the Guru and hearing what the Guru has to say, it can enter within our hearts, and then it enters our hearts, and if we are fortunate enough, we can nourish that or protect that or embrace that. We can embrace what we're hearing with great enthusiasm. So Srila Prabhupada is offering his obeisances unto Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, and then to the six Goswamis. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopala Go. So there are those very nice prayers to the six Goswamis, which again are very, very potent. If we read the books of the six Goswamis, and we're very fortunate to have the Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Goswami. So again, these books are very, very wonderful creations, I guess you could say. They've manifest. When we take up the Nectar of Devotion and we read it, and if we read it with faith and an open heart and an open mind, then there's plenty of space for the Lord to enter. But if we are closed off and a little bit doubtful, then the Lord cannot enter in. But if we open our hearts up and open our minds up, then it's like a flood of such wonderful things, especially in the Nectar of Devotion, describing the beautiful activities, the qualities of Krishna and his activities, and the different moods, and so much is there. People sometimes used to say that Prabhupada didn't give us everything, but lo and behold, he did. It's just you may have not seen. When he has given us the Nectar of Instruction, the Nectar of Devotion, this Parampara system. Now this Parampara system that is coming down, it's like a disciplic succession of a guru to disciple. So we have to qualify ourselves as a disciple in order to receive this knowledge. If we really want to be part of this Parampara system, we have to have an open heart, an open mind, so that we can embrace what we are receiving. And then when we receive it, that we have to treasure it, protect it, and then also we have to repeat it. This is the essence of the Parampara system, is that we repeat what we have heard from our spiritual master. And simply by doing this, we get great benefit. It's not that we are considering ourselves qualified. We can even see with Srila Prabhupada, he has a very meek and humble mood. Yet we can see what he is doing, such great work, but still he is very meek and humble about what he is actually doing, because he is seeing that this is coming down through the Parampara system. This is how I am able to repeat what I have heard from my spiritual master. So Prabhupada was very much qualified. We also understand he is the Senapati Bhakta. He is like the general of the army, of this Krishna consciousness movement. He has created an army now that is spread all over the planet. and his soldiers are going out there broadcasting the glories of the Lord, whether it's through Harinam or book distribution, even Prashadam distribution, and even just by, giving a smile to somebody. And we have our shaved heads, and sometimes we'll have our tilak on. No harm in going out with your tilak on. It's, because here in New Zealand, they have this moko, this tattoo on their chin, and it shows that they are more serious about their history and their culture. So we can go out with our tilak, and people are not shocked by this. They can see, this person is serious about what he is doing. So I'm quite happy to actually go out with my tilak on. I might have my tilak on, but then I have my gumboots on. But still there is no harm in it, because we are engaging in devotional service, whatever we are doing. So these people can perceive that, here is a person who has got this clay on his head, but he's got gumboots on his feet, but he is very jolly and happy, and he is, talking about Krishna. So whatever platform it may be, it does not matter. We can go out and preach. The thing is that we repeat what we have heard. And that's all we have to do. It's actually a very simple process. Simply repeat what you have heard from your spiritual master, what you have heard in these books, and then the great work is done. So this is what we will be doing. So we can see Srila Prabhupada here. He is praying now for mercy, that he may be able to finish this 4th canto, because we can understand with Srila Prabhupada's journey, coming to the West and having the heart attacks on the Jaladuta, and then struggling so much for 1 year, just, and having his typewriter stolen, and so many obstacles were there. But then after that first year, boom, after getting the Matchless gift shop and preaching there, things started to happen. Then off to San Francisco, and things started to flourish like that. So Prabhupada is still very grateful for the opportunity to be able to now translate this 4th canto, not knowing what the future holds. And that is our predicament. None of us know what is in the future. We are in very precarious times at the moment, and at any time calamity can strike. There is earthquake down in Te Puke the other day. The ground is shaking. We could have a volcanic eruption. Who knows what could happen? So we have to be very serious and treat every day as if it is our last. Why not? Because we do not know. But this is the most amazing thing, isn't it? This is what Yudhisthira says. The most amazing thing is that they think, I will not die. I have seen that my forefathers have died, but I am okay. I'm surrounded by my healthy bank balance that will keep me alive. So this is our illusion. So we should be very grateful for each and every day that we have. If we are able to get out of bed, that is like a blessing, that we can get out of bed and we can engage ourselves in devotional service, namely hearing and chanting, remembering the Lord like that. So this is all we have to do. And so we've perfected our life by coming here today, serving the deities, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, worshipping Tulsi Devi, worshipping Srila Prabhupada. So this day is a good day to die, you could say. Perfect situation. We've got a whole lot of ticks. We've done all these activities, so we're fit to die. Should that take place, but should it not, that is all good. We'll happily engage in devotional service, and we'll take rest, and we'll do the same again tomorrow. So this is the mood of a devotee, that he wants to please the Lord. He has accepted that what is written in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the absolute truth. Now that's a very powerful thing, the absolute truth. It is not maybe, yes, possibly. No. The absolute truth has been given to us, so we just have to take it, embrace it, and then everything will be revealed to us in due course of time. So this is the mercy that we have. So we are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for all his endeavours and struggles that he went through, and we just hope that we can repay Srila Prabhupada by broadcasting this message loudly and respecting the devotees, offering our obeisances to the devotees, serving the devotees, and in this way we'll be able to please the Lord. And then when the Lord is pleased, everything is taken care of, just as we can see with the life of Brahmaji. So let us just have some full faith in the words of Prabhupada, in the words of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and in this way our life will become perfect immediately. Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to hear.
Krishna.